What's up YouTube, Belated Gamer here, and this is my rambling series where I talk about my experiences in life and vent about whatever the hell is on my mind. And today I thought I'd talk about moving out of this town and onward to wherever life decides to take us. Now, here's the thing, I'm an Australian, I live in Canada. Yes, I know, I hear about it often. Here's the thing, I live in a small city or a large town. It's called Thunder Bay. It's quite literally out in the middle of nowhere. The weather is god awful out here. On average, a winter is minus 45. That's how cold it gets. The snow stays, and you've usually got around 6 to 8 months of snow and ice and just generally horrible weather. It is the murder capital of Canada. There have been so many murders out here. It's just depressing. And, of course, the business ethics of people out here just leave much to be desired, to be honest. So, my wife and I originally were going to move to Australia, but that never happened. And so we have since decided to move here, and I'm now going to call Canada home. But here's the thing, we have decided that we don't want to live here in Thunder Bay much longer. So what we need to do is decide to where we want to move. Now here's the thing, we pretty much worked out that we cannot move to Vancouver. It's just too expensive. As much as we want to move to the other side of Canada and see how that is, we just can't afford to do that. So this now falls to whether we want to move to Winnipeg or move to Toronto. Now, I thought I'd do this video with the pros and cons of moving to each area. And yeah, now moving to Winnipeg, everyone says that Winnipeg is just a shittier Thunder Bay here. And that's what everyone in this town says. It's just a shittier Thunder Bay. I actually went there with my wife recently, and we love the place. It is nice. It is completely refreshing. But that being said, we were on holiday. We went there to live, and we can't make a moving decision based on a holiday. It's a much bigger city than Thunder Bay. And it's a lot like Mississauga, in multiple ways. The area is clean, and it looks amazing. Like the layout reminds my wife and me a little bit of Mississauga. There are a lot of stores. Like it is a retail haven down there, up there, yes, up there. Over there, there we go. Yeah, there are a lot of stores over there. I mean, among them, we've got Smokes Poutine, which is my favourite. But they have an IKEA, they have massive shopping malls. It's great being out there. And to be honest, they've got a bigger vegan presence there. Their vegan presence is quite literally a lot better than the diversity in Thunder Bay. Another major pro is the fact that it's not too far from Minneapolis. Now, my wife and I usually go and drive south for a couple of hours and drive straight to Minneapolis. And that's usually from Thunder Bay, it's a 6-hour drive. From Winnipeg, it's a 7-hour drive. So we're adding an hour, but it's not a bad drive going down there. It really isn't. So while we were there, yes, we were on vacation and we had vacation glasses on, but a lot of people seem a lot happier there than they do here in Thunder Bay. People seem miserable here sometimes. And yes, I know people can say, oh, it's because the weather is here and a lot of other different things, but people seem much happier in Winnipeg. I feel that Winnipeg has got a lot more employment opportunities there. And as such, I feel that they have a better business ethics practice in Winnipeg than here in Thunder Bay. And finally, for the pros, housing is a lot cheaper in Winnipeg than, of course, Toronto, or Vancouver for that matter. So that's enough for the pros of moving to Winnipeg. So let's move on to the cons. And the first thing that my wife hated about Winnipeg is that it's flat. I saw that driving into Winnipeg, because you basically, as you're driving along, you're driving for about an hour on the flat road with no end in sight. There is off to your right nothing but flatness, and off to your left nothing but flatness. You might see a tree every now and then, or a house, or a billboard, but it's flat. And that's something my wife hates. Secondly, it's a lot colder than Thunder Bay. They also have the wind factor, and supposedly their winters are a lot more harsh than ours are in Thunder Bay. Another major con is the fact that the streets have a lot of one-way streets. Now, this might seem like just something that's a bit of a nitpick, but when you're driving down a street and you go, oh crap, there goes my turn off, I'll go at the next one. Oh wait, that was a one way. Oh, that next one wasn't a one way. Oh, that next one was a one way. And before long, you're about 2 kilometers away from where you were supposed to turn, because all these other streets are one-way streets, and it takes ages to get back. One of the other cons is the fact that it doesn't have an international airport. Toronto has an international airport, Vancouver has an international airport, even Edmonton has an international airport. Yes, I know Winnipeg is classed as an international airport, but I feel that it's not busy enough to warrant flying to Australia from Winnipeg, because you literally have to bounce around the country. I mean, you don't have to with Toronto, because you basically fly to Vancouver and then Vancouver straight to Australia. But I can't fly to Japan from Winnipeg. I can't do a lot of things. So that's a little bit of a pain, but it's not too bad. And finally, for the cons, apparently, according to people in Thunder Bay, they're telling me that people from Winnipeg are more racist than they are. Now, here's the thing. That's at face value. I've been to Winnipeg, but yes, as I said before, I've been with vacation glasses on. So everything looks beautiful there. However, the amount of racism that's there, it can't be worse than Thunder Bay. I mean, for God's sake, our police chief just got arrested and is being charged with corruption charges, for God's sake. And this is the same person who basically doesn't give a fuck about racist police officers, or the racism going on with the native peoples of Canada. So, would I want to move to a place that is a shit ton more racist than where I am now? Oh, God, no. Why would I? So now we move on to moving to Toronto. Now, here's the thing. I've been to Toronto multiple times. I like Toronto. Toronto's a nice place. But here's the thing. The one thing I am terrified about with Toronto and the GTA area is I don't want to move there because of the whole 2-hour drive to your job thing. I've heard of stories of people, I mean, friends even, who have to drive 2 hours, who basically have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, get dressed, shower, shave, blah, 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 get in the car, in half an hour, drive to work just to beat the traffic, to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's terrifying. Why would I want to go there? I've been stuck in traffic jams in Toronto. It's terrible. That is the one thing that I hate about Toronto, is the traffic. Secondly, the other thing I feel about Toronto is that it's incredibly overrated. The reason I feel that it's overrated is my father-in-law talks it up all the time. A lot of people I know talk it up all the time. And I just feel that, Toronto's the best. This, and the other thing. I feel that it's just really overrated. But let's go into the pros of living in the GTA area. So the first pro is it's a bigger city. It's a much bigger city than Thunder Bay by a lot. It really is a much bigger city. When you fly over Toronto, you just keep flying over this grey mass of city. It's huge. I feel that there are a lot more employment opportunities there than there are here in Thunder Bay. And I feel that although there are a lot of more opportunities there, I might not get what I really want to do. Third is it's right near Niagara Falls. I love Niagara Falls. I reckon that's a great place. It's a great place to go just to check out the falls. And then about 10 minutes after you're there, you can run off to the toilet and go for a pee and then run back and just check out the awe-inspiring waterfall flowing over the falls. I love Niagara Falls. I reckon it's a great place. One of the biggest pros there is the winters aren't exactly shit like they are in Thunder Bay and Winnipeg. The cleanup crews have their shit together, and it's not so bad in winter. Another pro about living in Toronto is the fact that their food is a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper than Thunder Bay, and it's a bit cheaper than Winnipeg, because out in Thunder Bay, they expect $16, $17 for a plate of food. You're getting a small last portion. You go to Toronto, $8 for the same thing, $8, and the portion is twice, 3 times, 4 times the size of what you're getting in Thunder Bay. I feel that alone is one of the best pros about living in Toronto. And of course, the international airport and the Amazon hub is in Toronto, so packages come a lot quicker than they do. And of course, the international airport, big selling point for me. I like to travel. Okay, so that's the pros out of the way for moving to Toronto. Now we're going to look at the cons. And as I said before, the public transportation and having to drive everywhere, it takes ages. It's something I'm not looking forward to at all if we move to Toronto. It is the major con for me moving to Toronto. I don't want to have to deal with it at all. Secondly, the biggest con about Toronto is the cost of housing. It's just ridiculous. You can go and try and find a house in Mississauga. I'd like to see you guys try and find a house that's less than $300,000 in Mississauga. And I'm talking about a house, not an apartment. Houses start at around $800,000 now in Mississauga. That alone is far away from the centre of Toronto. The cheapest you're going to find is a place in Guelph or Kitchener or Cambridge or Waterloo. And even then, it's $350,000, $450,000, $550,000 for a house. Like, it's getting ridiculous. There's clearly going to be a bubble burst in the real estate sector. And when it happens, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. And of course, the last con about Toronto is that everything is far away from everything. It takes an hour to drive to the airport, an hour plus most of the time. I mean, I was almost late for my own wedding because of the traffic there. But imagine the traffic and having to go to City Hall in Toronto or a hospital in Toronto, and you're living on the other side of town. It's a day. You have to basically take a day off to drive there. That's how bad it is. So that's pretty much it. That's my summary of moving to either Toronto or Winnipeg. I don't know what I should do. If you've got any ideas, write them down in the comments below. Let me know. But at the same time, I have no freaking clue what I'm going to do. Probably going to side with Toronto against my better judgment. I know that I hate driving. I know I hate having to wait in traffic jams. Looks like that's what I'm going to have to do. So anyway, yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to comment. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you all very soon.